This is the Tefal IXEO Power all-in-one iron and clothes steamer, model QT 2020. I bought this 3 years ago to use for steaming clothes I photograph for e-commerce clients, and today I'll show you how it works and share my review after 3 years of regular use. Quick note on branding. In the UK it's sold as Tefal. In North America and some other regions it's Rowenta, their sister companies. I can see that there are a few variations available in different regions, and in North America there is a newer version, so it's worth checking before you buy. The 2020 is still the current model sold in the UK. I paid £299 for mine, and that's still roughly what it goes for today when it's on offer. Worth mentioning too, it's intended for domestic use and the manufacturer's guarantee won't cover commercial use, but I've been using it commercially anyway, so that's a risk I've taken on knowingly. In the product marketing, Tefal labels it all-in-one, meaning you can use it 3 ways. As a steamer with clothes hanging vertically, with the board flat, using the heated iron head like a traditional steam iron and board, or at an angle for easier steaming and ironing of the same garment. The IXEO uses a steam-on-demand system, which means you pull a trigger to activate the steam, rather than the traditional kettle-style models that steam continuously. This function is more like a steam iron in this regard. Steam on demand wastes less electricity and water when you're not actively steaming. It also pumps less moisture into the air, which cuts down on condensation issues. So what are the downsides? Unlike continuous heating models, this high-pressure boiler design can't steam non-stop until the water runs out. It has to cycle through a filling and heating process. You still get a little steam whilst it does this, but at a much lower pressure. Yet, it takes less than a minute to hit full power again, so it's not that bad. When it's running, you'll hear the electric pump kick in as it injects water onto the boiler. It's a bit noisy, but that's just how the system works. It's not a fault. This is what it sounds like. The tank is smaller than you'll get on a continuous steam model, but because it's not constantly steaming, it uses less water overall. I haven't found the tank size to be a problem. The iron head is compact, measuring 15 centimetres from tip to end. It's a good size for steaming and getting into tight spots like collars. It comes with this clip-on brush, but I've never actually used it. It's more suitable for curtains and upholstery or fabrics with a pile such as velvet. The base has 2 small wheels for moving it around, but you need to tilt it and use both hands to move it. This wasn't practical for me, so I built a simple dolly out of a scrap piece of plywood and casters. I put a bolt through a hole that was conveniently built into the base and secured it with a strap. The ironing board is genuinely useful. I use it in every position and sometimes just as a flat surface for putting items on. Often though, I steam clothes when they're hanging directly on the rail. For knitwear, which I always steam flat, or larger items like scarves, I'll pair it with a full-size ironing board, which also doubles as extra table space too. The hanging clip can be removed from the board if you find it's in the way when you're ironing, and the unit can be removed from the stand and carried, ideal for curtains and upholstery. Unclip the iron head cradle from the stand and clip it directly onto the unit like this. The steamer has been designed to be used with untreated tap water, but it can be used 50-50 with tap water and demineralised water if your tap water is particularly hard. To start using it, once you've filled the tank, press the on-off button. This light will flash blue whilst it's heating up. When it's ready to use, the light will stay on. The light also flashes when it goes into standby mode, which triggers after 8 minutes. It will stay in standby mode for another 30 minutes, then turn off. Moving on to the other lights. This mode light at the top will remain off on startup, which indicates it's in normal mode, which is suitable for everyday cottons and light linen fabrics. There are 2 other additional settings: minimum or eco for delicate fabrics. In this mode, the green light stays on, and maximum or high for continuous high pressure steaming for thick fabrics and sanitizing upholstery. When it's in this mode, the light flashes green. In reality, I don't switch between these modes often. There is also a steam boost feature which fires a continuous high pressure burst of steam for a few seconds. To activate this, you pull the trigger 3 times in quick succession. A few things worth knowing about the other lights. If this light is flashing red, it means that the water tank is empty or not sealed properly. And when this light, labelled anti-calc, flashes orange, it's time for a descale. The descaling process is somewhat cumbersome, requiring you to shake the unit to dislodge the scale. To do the descale, wait for it to cool down for a couple of hours if it's hot. Remove this cap, fill it with water. A funnel helps here as the opening is small. Replace the cap, shake it, then empty it out. You'll see the scale come out with the water. I usually do this twice. Once you're done, press OK the next time you turn it on to reset the timer. The instructions say use plain water only for the descale. Don't use vinegar or descaling chemicals, since these could damage the unit. Sometimes irons and steamers can spit out mineral deposits when they're first turned on, but I've never had this happen with this steamer. However, I always steam onto a scrap piece of fabric when I first turn it on, just in case, as this could easily spoil clothing. As per the instructions, I don't store it with water still inside the tank. This should help reduce mineral and scale build-up over time. So, would I recommend it? Yes and no. Yes, because the steam on demand paired with the heated iron head is genuinely great. Some handheld steamers work similarly, but they're less powerful and don't hold enough water for what I need. And no, because of a few design niggles that bug me. First, the shape of the iron head handle and trigger make it awkward to use. The shape doesn't sit naturally in the hand and the trigger is too sensitive. It's easy to press accidentally and I've burnt myself more than once. Nothing serious, but enough to be annoying. An ergonomic handle and trigger design, more like a hand tool, would improve this. Because of these design issues, I'd only recommend the steamer for someone who's careful and patient. I wouldn't recommend it for someone who's a bit more clumsy, and I'd definitely suggest trying it before buying. I bought this ironing mitt to help with accidental burning, but it didn't do the job I wanted, since it's hard to grip the fabric properly. I did find it useful in other ways, so I would recommend one as a helpful accessory. Then I bought a pair of flexible heat-resistant gloves, which do work, but they're a bit sweaty and uncomfortable to use for a long time. I don't let clients use the steamer because I don't want them to get burnt. The next problem is with the seating of the iron head in the cradle. The head needs to be placed quite precisely to lock in. Also, the power cable is a bit short at 170 centimetres, but this is more of an annoyance than a deal breaker. So, if I had to buy a steamer again, would I buy this one? I would consider it, as it's worked without any issues for 3 years. Some of the finish has worn off the handle, but this is purely cosmetic. Nothing has broken or needed replacing or repair. However, I would also consider other options, such as the Philips 6000 series. It's less powerful, but if the design felt safer, it would genuinely be in the running for me. Have you tried the Tefal IXEO or a similar model? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Thanks for watching.